Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. Listen, man, leave that donation for that fried rice and chicken wings. Like, subscribe, become a member to the channel, follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Look, man, Brian Norman Jr. versus Jaron Ennis. Does that fight need to build? Now, this is my thing. I understand what people are saying where they want to see Boots fight Brian Norman Jr. I get it. I understand the frustration with fans where they're looking at what's reported as far as Brian Norman Jr. making less than $200,000 in his most recent fight. He could have fought Jaron Boots Ennis for close to $2 million. I understand. Some people saying he didn't take the fight because he's putting duck sauce on the fried rice. I see it like this. Eddie Hearn. You see, y'all need to understand. See, most of the people out here talking about this stuff, you guys pick and choose when you want to tune into boxing. Do you guys not realize Deontay Wilder? Y'all talking about walking away from about $2 million. Man, forget that bullshit. Wilder walked away from like almost $100 million. Think he's gonna get $15 million to fight Brazil, and then $40 million for the first fight with Age, and another $40 million for the second fight. So 80, 95, like $100 million. A 3-fight deal worth about $100 million. Wilder walked away from it. Gotta be a reason. So everybody said Deontay Wilder was stupid. He ducked AJ. Afraid to fight him. Okay. Then you come out and you hear Eddie Hearn and DAZN, and particularly the reps at DAZN say they messed up. It's just the way they approached negotiations with Deontay Wilder. They didn't treat him with respect as a champion. And even Eddie Hearn had dropped the ball on how he basically tried to bully Deontay, and Deontay and his team weren't going for that. And you look, Eddie Hearn, here it is again, where it's huge money compared to what Norman Jr. made in his most recent fight, right? Huge money. But the bullying tactics, that doesn't work. So there's something that Eddie Hearn chooses to do that turns fighters off. And for some of you out there who are saying, well, hey, he could turn me off all he wants if he's going to sit there and pay me, 20 times more than what I would make in another fight. I get it. But I think Norman Jr. and Jaron Ennis, I think that fight should brew a little bit more, should build a little more. It's gaining steam now. Why not let Norman Jr. go out there? What is he, 23? He's got a title, man. You guys want him to come out and say, I feel I can beat Jaron Ennis. But at the same time, you say, okay, if you feel that way, well, then you should take the money. That money is going to be more than what they offered him initially. You see, I personally think that he should hold on to that title. He's young. When you have a title, that means you make more money. Go on out here and get paid. That's how I feel. Fight. Keep stacking up your dough. Those fight purses are going to continue to increase. And he's going to continue to get more experience and get more comfortable because he's 23. Y'all don't come out here acting like he's no longer learning. He still has the aptitude to learn, and he's going to keep learning. Every fighter never stops learning, and they never stop drilling on the basics. So I can understand Norman Jr. and his team where they're like, we're not afraid of Boots. We feel we'll beat Boots. And I hear what Boots' team says, well, in sparring, we did this and that. Sparring, any of y'all who've ever fought or done any sparring, some people go into a sparring session and they fight. But for me, we've had fights, but we're always working on something. I remember working with a friend of mine, and my thing was trying to time this guy where he would throw out his jab and counter his jab with my left hand. I remember him throwing the jab and me trying to stay comfortable in the pocket where he would throw his jab, his right hand, a hook, whatever, and I'm watching the shots, trying to slip him, get underneath, and then work to countering him. when you're going through that shit, you're gonna get hit. Now I don't know what happened with Boots and Ennis. I mean Boots and Norman. But what I would say is sparring. But why not stack up his dough? Stack up your dough, man. Okay, so that's what me at age 49, looking at a young man that has the opportunity. To me, he has a golden ticket. He has a title. Man, fight some of these top 15 guys and stack up your dough. Fight your mandatories, whatever. But if there's someone who he's going to have to fight as a mandatory who's a real threat to him, and y'all can say what you want, that's when you know it's coming down the pipeline. You see about some step-aside money, then you go and you try to go into a fight with a guy like Jerron Ennis. That's what I think, man. Because the bigger money is going to be there. Now, Jerron still has work to do. Now, for everybody thinking that's the fight, Boots and Norman Jr., it's going to happen next. Like, Boots just fought Stan Eunice. His next fight should be Norman Jr. It's not. You got Giasov out there. Giasov took step-aside money to allow Stan Eunice and Boots to fight. Giasov's manager, he already came out and said, look, we're not taking any more step-aside money. We want to fight Boots now, okay? So this gives Boots an opportunity to fight Giasov, a fight where Boots should win with no problem. But Norman Jr. to go out there now as a champion and fight and defend his title against somebody else. I am pretty sure his fight purse is going to be a lot more than $150,000 or whatever it was. Anyway, now his profile, his platform has grown. His fight purse has increased. Maybe he makes $500,000 his next fight. I don't know. But if he gets through that, depending on what's going on with him and his belt, Boots and his belt after he fights Giasov, I think Norman Jr. should fight somebody else again. But if they want to make the fight with it, now you're talking about there being even more money in the pot. Because, see, as long as they keep winning in an emphatic fashion, the demand to see Boots and Norman Jr. fight is going to grow. And I know a lot of y'all out there, you hear somebody say something, you just repeat it. Like somebody was like, they use the word diabolical. Yo, talk about taking it to the stupid. You guys just learned this word diabolical. You hear everybody saying it, now you're saying it. Oh, yeah, here talking about cooking. Oh, I'm going to cook you. You don't know shit about boxing. It's like, my man, just because people don't share the same opinion as yourself doesn't make you any smarter than anyone else. You're entitled to your own opinions, not your own facts, McNicholas. So, again, when it comes to Ennis and Norman, people can say and feel how they want, man. The best should fight the best. True, but y'all not going to be around when these guys, 50, 60, and they had an opportunity with that golden ticket to milk that shit, fight top 10 opponents, and make a whole bunch of money, and then finally allow their stardom to build and allow the momentum and the expectation and demand for the fight to culminate to a point to where it's like, okay, we've got to scrap. Now you're talking about huge fight purses for Norman Jr. and Boots Ennis. Also, keep in mind, man, Eddie Hearn is talking, if you listen to him, whoever he promotes, he's going to talk like he wants a long relationship with him. He wants that working relationship to last 10 years. He had Berlanga's gone. He had Shakur Stevenson's gone to Lou DiBella now. He got Boots Ennis. Who knows what the story is as far as the contract signed between Eddie and Jerron Boots Ennis. All I'm saying, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. And even for Boots has that strap. Eddie Hearn, if he sees, okay, Boots, he looks spectacular, but he looks vulnerable, Eddie Hearn may try to cash him out. And he could try to put him in with a guy like Norman Jr. And then if Boots loses, all of a sudden he ain't working with him no more. Eddie Hearn, and this is the other thing fans don't get, Eddie Hearn is not in a rush to have Boots lose. And I know some of y'all Boots fans out there, y'all already out here talking about Boots is the successor to Mayweather. Boots he basically is an imprint of Terrence Crawford. Jerron Boots can do no wrong if he let y'all tell the story. But nobody out here talking about Brian Norman Jr. Look, don't allow his dad, who's very vocal, right? Don't allow his loquacious pops to come out here and form y'all and cause y'all to form these blinders where you only see what you want. Brian Norman Jr. can scrap. Let me tell you, when Eddie Hearn isn't in front of those cameras and he's at home by himself laying down or whatever, and his wife may be in the bed, he in the living room laying down, drinking a hot cup of tea and shit, and he looking up at that ceiling fan, he's saying to himself, holy shit, Eddie, don't take it to the stupid. Brian Norman Jr. can scrap. That's what he's saying. He got in there, fought this big Puerto Rican cat, got clipped early. He was able to shake it off and came back and stopped him. And just like when he fought Santillan, he got in there and just stopped him. There's something, I'm telling y'all, man, you guys better understand what you're seeing in that ring with Brian Norman Jr. Same way you're looking at Boots and everybody's seeing the greatness about Boots, y'all better look and see that greatness about Brian Norman Jr. There's something special about Brian Norman Jr. He's able to counter. He's able to slip. He's able to time you. It's a lot of things he's doing in there. The way he uses his forearms, the way he does everything, his footwork. I'm telling you, man, that guy can fight. And that is not going to be an easy fight for Jaron Ennis. Y'all out here thinking Jaron Boots Ennis and Norman Jr. is going to look like Jaron against Stanley Eunice? There's no 6-inch reach advantage and all that other stuff, okay? And Brian Norman Jr. hits much harder. And it's been a while since they've sparred. They both, have improved. But I still think it needs to build. I don't think it's there yet. I mean, the fact that he can fight for unification, two of Boots' titles, one of Norman Jr.'s, yeah, that makes it very intriguing. And it's like, okay, shit, what time would be better than now? Either one of them could lose their straps. I get it. But when you look at the competition at 147, that's a moot point. You know what I'm saying? Either one of them can lose it. Lose it to who at 147 is going to beat Boots or beat Brian Norman Jr. outside of them fighting each other? You know what I'm saying? The only one that I say is a wild card at 147, and they won't give him an opportunity, is Kavaliauskas. If he has a tenth of what he had when he fought Crawford and Virgil Ortiz, Brian Norman Jr. and Boots, their ass going to be in trouble. I'm not saying they lose. I'm just saying that's a high-risk fight. Because Edijas Kavaliauskas can scrap. Anyway, I think people need to hold their horses and stop taking it to the stupid, trying to force and try to clown Norman Jr. and his dad for not taking that fight. I totally understood what his pop said. We're not going to be bullied. The money was good, but it wasn't great. Also, they're aware that Eddie Hearn has overpaid fighters before to get belts. So if you want me to fight, why won't you come and make the money so attractive to where we can't say no? Because you've done that for other fighters when a title was involved. You know what I'm saying? But that being said, let's see what happens. But I just think, the Normans kind of got it right. You just keep fighting, top 15 guys. You got the title. We made 150 here. Next fight, maybe 500,000. And I get it. It's not the $2 million, but depending on these guys you're fighting, next you know you'll be up at that $1 million, $1.5 million mark without Boots. And by the time you fight Boots, now you're talking about $3, $4 million, $5 million maybe. You just don't know how this plays out, especially depending on what happens with Barrios. I don't know what direction he's going. Sound like he's fighting Pacquiao, but shit, if Norman Jr. can lock in the Barrios fight next, because Boots has to fight Giasov. Boy, then Brian Norman Jr. and his dad have 2 belts, and Boots has 2 belts. That shit is 50-50. Now it's going to be big money on it. It's an undisputed distinction. Now you're talking about the $10 million paydays for each side, the $15 million paydays. You see what I'm saying? So I think the Normans got it right. I think they got it right. Initially, it's like, they putting duck sauce on the fried rice. Why not go get that money? If you believe you can win, you take the risk. I get it, but at the same time, it's like, nah, it's a fight we can win, but we can also lose. The same thing for Jaron Ennis. But, Jaron's full steam ahead because Jaron can't be at 147 too much longer. Brian Norman Jr. Let's see, like he's pretty comfortable at 147. So I would not be surprised if Jerron gets anxious and just tells Eddie just 50-50 down the board, because Jerron can't afford to hang around 147 another 2-3 years. He can't do that. That dude will go into kidney failure and shit when he starts cutting weight. I know he got a dietitian and all that, nutritionist. I get it, but I don't trust all that bullshit. I still think it's hard for him to make that weight. And I don't know how it's going to work with the guys he's fighting. I think since Boots has 2 belts, if he fights an IBF mandatory, he may still have that 10-pound rehydration clause. That's going to suck, but if he's someone for the WBA, then it won't matter. So I don't know how that's going to affect him going forward. Anyway, Jerron Boots Ennis has more, I think, obstacles to overcome than Brian Norman Jr. because of that IBF belt he has. Anyway, y'all keep cool. It ain't that straightforward in my opinion. I think they need to let the fight build some more. Brian Norman Jr., stack up your dough. I know some people are going to say, no, man. You know, like one guy talking about, what did he say? I'll show you what he said. And I understand what he's saying, but, you know, he's probably young. Well, he can't possibly be 49 years old with gray in his hair, retired and shit like that, because he surely wouldn't be talking the way he's talking if he had my goddamn wisdom. Let me show you. Let me show you the comments this guy was saying. Because I hear a lot of people just kind of parrot these statements. It doesn't even sound original. It sounds like something they've heard somebody say, and they just come and they repeat the shit. Okay, it's pulling up right here. There we go. All right, here it is. So he says, you can't get a belt and say he's not ready. Overpaying is crazy. People like this make me sick. And I say, let him stack his dough. And he says, you can't stack dough turning down 1.7 million. For 150K less than that after the fees he pays. Who else is he going to fight that would produce that much? Boots ain't taking no more pay cuts, so, and I doubt he ever gets a Ryan Garcia fight or Devin Haney fight, but that's what y'all betting on. So he's telling me what I'm betting on. You know what I'm saying? So he sounds young. That's why I don't even pay most of these comments any attention, because I know what I'm dealing with. He says, sick work, boxing media, co-signing duck work in boxing. Sick work. I keep hearing these people use this terminology over and over. So they just hear somebody say something, they just come and repeat it. It thinks it sounds cool. Guys pricing themselves out. That's why Tank today doesn't care for the belts, and I stand behind him. So he's saying he wants to stand. He stands behind Tank. Okay, good for you to stand behind a man. Because if nobody wants to watch you, why are you asking for 50-50? And I told him, you're short-sighted. I think the Normans got it right. It will all come together. And it will all come together. Make your money. Forget what people think. You know what I'm saying? Get your dough. And it's the same thing. He basically just contradicts himself here. So he's saying, so what he's saying here about he stands behind Tank because Tank does what he wants. Tank is essentially doing what Brian Norman Jr. is doing. He's got a title. He's not worried about unifications. Tank's not worried about fighting anyone that the fans want him to fight. Tank's going to fight who he wants to stack up his dough. Brian Norman Jr. is going to fight with who he wants to continue building up his money earning potential. So he and Tank are doing the same thing. Tank is already where Brian Norman Jr. is trying to get. So, remember, Tank could have fought Lomachenko for much bigger money than what he was making years ago. He chose not to fight him. So, yo, my man, you got to be easy with what you're saying, because you again, that's why I say, Most of the cats come in here talking. I don't have time to type responses. You know what I'm saying? The way I want to say it. That's why I'll just do a video. You basically praising Tank for doing the same shit that Brian Norman Jr. did. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Tank make a little more money, but he would have made more money fighting Lomachenko back in the day than fighting the other opponents he fought. So be careful what you're saying out here, man. That's why I said you're short-sighted. What Aaron the plumber say? You're not qualified, my man. You ain't qualified. Anyway, y'all keep cool. Brian Norman Jr. and Boots Ennis is going to be amazing when they scrap because I think they're both going to keep winning. But at the same time, I think Brian Norman Jr. and Boots both keep stacking up their dough. Stack up your money because at the end of the day, when this shit's all over, these fans ain't going to care. I'm a retired cat. I'm telling you. I know that. That's why I'm glad I was stacking my dough as a young man all the way from my 20s, 30s, 40s, and retired at 43. And I haven't worked since. And life is good. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.